back down in the Chiefs pit, Timmy Petty, Mark Petty, and Richie Petty. And man, we got some neat stuff on the set today. We've been rearranging and going through some things again, and it seems like it's a never-ending process coming up with stuff, ain't it?
I hope it don't.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go through some things, and we got some special items, but one thing here, we talked about the junkyard in the episode. Here's a Hemi piston, and we was digging around out there in the junkyard.
Can I see that?
And that came up. And what do you think about that, Tim?
No, it looks like a stock one because, later
Yeah.
on they run the Vinoyas, and I guess JE was just starting out back in then.
Well, anyway,
That looks like a stock one.
They come out of the junkyard. We're digging around back there. Had to do a little sandblasting on it to give it make it look good, but that's it. The welder here. This is the very first welder for Lee Petty Engineering. And you got a story on that?
Well, I guess I do.
Well, yeah.
That Daddy and all of them always said that Uncle Richard was the best oxyacetylene torch welder.
Coat hangers.
Yeah, but he was a real good welder. But I don't know, here's some 4 or 5 years ago, Piedmont Natural Gas was redoing the gas lines up here. And Richard was telling me a story that he said that they begged and begged Grandfather to buy a stick welder, which is that one, right?
Yes, sir.
And anyway, said he got it and said he couldn't weld worth a flip with it. But he said during that time was when Piedmont Gas was putting their gas lines in out at the road, and he said when them guys would go on break, they'd come up in the shop, look at the race cars. Said there was an old man that welded the gas lines for Piedmont, and he taught Richard how to use that stick welder.
That's always a neat story.
It is.
Yeah. Well, that's the very first welder for Lee Petty Engineering, and it's still here. We don't use it, but we still got it. So,
It's a good prop.
yeah. Yeah. And this sign here, the parts department, that's set down there when they did the Chrysler parts at the main building down there, and that was.
Can you name any of the guys that worked in the parts department when they were really rolling for
Warren
Chrysler?
Prout.
Louis,
Pancava.
yeah, and Warren Prout.
Randy Cox worked in there a lot too in the parts,
Yeah.
and it still does today at
Garage, yeah.
Yeah.
Cousin Steve Wilson worked in parts.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a few builds.
I'm just trying to think of.
If you was around the Petty shops in the 70s, you seen this on the door going
Yep.
in, didn't you? And well, anyway, 75 years of Petty Brothers racing, and we was thinking because October's coming up on us. This here is the very first trophy that Lee Petty and Julie won in
One of
NASCAR.
1 of 8.
In NASCAR, they won with the street racing and stuff. They won races, but as far as NASCAR racing, this is the first Petty trophy, and one of
1 of 8 in the 49 season.
49 season. There was 8 races.
Heidelberg, Pennsylvania.
Red Baron was the champion that year, and we said he won 2 races, and the guy that won the very first one at Charlotte for the Grand Nationals, because NASCAR did a 48 season for the modifieds, but this is the Grand National, which is the Cup side.
Right.
And Jim Roper won the first one at Charlotte, and Curtis Turner won 2. Didn't we say that?
No, it was Fonty. Or
Fonty,
no,
yeah,
the Flock guy.
And one of the Flocks won 2. And,
It wasn't Tim. It was Fonty.
Yeah, it was Bob Flock. He
Was
won
it?
2. Yep, I believe it was.
Well, we'll have to get on that, and somebody can correct us. That's fine.
But the main thing is,
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
Petty's.
Heidelberg was a suburb of Pittsburgh, right?
yep.
And that could be going on one of the stories Lee used to tell us. I mean, I don't know if it was true, but he said that they wouldn't have no money, and they'd go to a restaurant and order a cup of boiling hot water and just put the ketchup packs in it and make tomato soup.
Yep.
And use crackers.
Yep.
But that is the very first Petty Brothers, Petty Engineering, Petty Enterprises, the very first trophy in NASCAR that the Pettys won. So it's a special piece for our little collection, and I'm just glad that Mark and Grandfather they were smart enough back years ago
Since we're talking about the Petty brothers,
to put it in our collection.
we got to use Corky, Nelson McCorkadale story. They said they'd be riding down the road and Lee would be driving and Julie would be in there, and they'd be mad at each other, and all of a sudden one of them just haul off and popped the other one in the face while they were driving.
Wow.
So I mean, I thought that would go along.
I come across this. This had nothing to do with the '49 season, but people always want to know, what kind of driver was your grandfather? Was he an aggressive driver? Was he smooth and all that? Because he come up with them little coupes, right? Them little Plymouth coupes.
Right.
And he wasn't known to be the one to get out there and lead every lap. He was just the guy to get out there, and he was known as Mr. Consistency. And he would be there at the end, and he won a lot of races like that. But this is Smokey Eunuch was 92 or so, was given a Hall of Fame thing in Daytona, and this is his speech. But here's this one quote here that I liked. Here was he said that one time, he said, "It's very, very ironic. I was chosen to present your entry into this Hall of Fame." This is Smokey Eunuch talking to grandfather. "A year or so ago, a writer asked me who the dirtiest driver in NASCAR was, and I said Lee Petty."
Lee Petty gets straightened out and heads for the checkered flag.
Lee was a dirty racer. He won't appreciate that, but he's the guy that put me out of business at Darlington in '57.
Petty and Turner are in a furious battle for the lead. Look out! Turner is in real trouble.
But as I look at it as in print, I felt bad. The words should have been aggressive. As I look back, actually, you were the Dale Earnhardt of the 50s. So
That's good.
But you know who grandfather's favorite driver was? I know y'all know, and I mean,
Well, yeah.
he loved Richard Petty. That's his son. He loved all the Pettys. But when he was watching races on Sunday, he really got a kick out of watching.
Yep, love Dale Earnhardt style for sure.
He loved it because it reminded him of himself,
Yep.
didn't it? Yeah.
And meanwhile, Ricky Rudd trying to
And Earnhardt spins him out.
Oh, man.
And Tony Stewart is involved in the crash, as is Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, and several others. Dale Earnhardt takes the checkered flag.
He also he mentioned that, because a lot of people over the years asked him who he thought was the best driver, and he always said, "Well, David Pearson won all them races and never got a nosebleed." He never got hurt much. So that in his eyes, that was pretty good. Because a lot of them got wrecked and
Got hurt.
real bad.
Oh, yeah.
In that generation.
Yeah. Well, I had it laid out here and I lost it. I was going to show you some little things here.
Long pause.
Long pause.
What you hunting?
Well, I had this thing of his first license and his first
Well, we can find it.
his first rule book. I thought I had it laid out right there. Oh, here it is. So this is from the '49 NASCAR season. This is the rule
Lord.
book. Did you see that? And then on the back it says his first license.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
And it's got the neat thing about his license is
I feel like I'm at show and
his
tell.
first NASCAR license is Bill France Sr. actually signed it with a pen. It's
Oh,
not.
yeah, it
It's
wasn't
not.
print.
No, it's a. It's. and
Hey, I
then-
bet there ain't too many of these out there
That's
floating
right.
around.
So there's that, and then we had one of the first 1949. Well, that's 1950 for Charlotte. 1950. That's a program from 1950, and I got a 1949 program.
I was looking up something on the internet. Every once in a while, if you ain't got nothing to do, you'll look at something on the Google or whatever. But there's like a truck stop where that track used to be up there now, like a Love's or a Pilot or something like
Oh, Heidelberg?
that. Where Heidelberg was. And, you had Langhorne up there in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
which, there was a lot of the greats come out of there. I don't know, Pennsylvania had a lot of racetracks at one time. I mean, I'm not gravitating towards Pennsylvania, but,
No, they did. They always pretty good ones. But man, could you imagine when Lee won his first trophy? He had no idea what was fixing to come for the Petty family, did he?
No, it was definitely an experiment that flourished.
He went on to win 54 total races in his career, and I believe he had if you averaged all his finishes, I believe he has like a top 5 average for all his finishes. So anyway,
Well, he never finished out of top 5 in the points.
in the
right?
points, he won 3 championships, and he
Out
probably
of
should have
11.
won 2 more because he finished a couple of them races where NASCAR had like a 50-mile radius that you couldn't run a non-sanctioned race in. He got caught running some outlaw races, and they took his points away. And so he missed out on a couple of.
Well, he didn't haul out to was it Riverside or somewhere in California that had a race?
Yeah, somewhere out there.
60?
It might have been in Los Angeles there. They had that little short
Was that
track.
60?
That
I
was
think it was like
50,
50, wasn't it?
1950.
Was it?
Yeah, because that would have been Bill Rexford, I believe, won that one. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know there was one particular instance that they all agreed not to run, and somebody went out there and ran.
Yeah.
And then he ended up not winning the
Well,
championship.
there's for 75 years, and
What's that other little trophy?
well, it's just something that he won. It don't have no inscribed, so I don't know what it is, but that's a couple of his little trophies. But
It kind of looks like his little car, doesn't
yeah,
it?
oh yeah, come a long way in 75 years, is what I'm saying, because it's
Absolutely.
and we're still as proud of our grandfather as we was when he was alive, and we still try to hold his memory and still try to honor him. So I think we're trying. I hope we're doing a good job. So I think he'd be happy with us, don't y'all? All right. Well, we appreciate your comments, and like and subscribe, and keep tuning in to us.
Lee Petty, you were one of the sport's first great champions. But of all the champions in stock car racing, Richard Petty is the greatest. As you look out here and see all these people and know of Richard's success, what does it mean to you?
It's what you call an inner satisfaction. I really can't express it, but it's an inner satisfaction that you accomplish and it materialize over the years.